Hello, everyone. So glad you're with me this evening. It is 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is time to do a show. Are you ready? My name is Cassandra Williamson, and you know, we just do this thing. Let me get my little disclaimer up here for anyone who wants to see that. And get the banner up and show the disclaimer. Okay, yes. So, as you can see, this is a Transgender Veteran Show. And also, the opinions expressed here are mine and mine alone. They do not represent any particular organization, agency, department, or whatever. Okay, they're my opinions, period. And if you're here under the age of 18, leave. This is no place for you. Do appreciate you dropping in, but this is not the place for you. Go find something else to hang out and talk about. Okay. So, with that being said, I do want to very clearly state that, hey, this is the action group side of our organization. This is Transgender and Diverse Veterans of America Action Group. And we do talk a lot of opinions and a lot of different things going on out there. And people are more than welcome to have their own opinion about all kinds of stuff. But you know something? These are my opinions. And you might not like them and you might disagree with them or whatever. But, they're mine. I got to find my phone now. It's over here. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, just went out, had my nails completed. I had to go do that and get that ready because I'm going to be in DC. I'll be flying out this coming weekend and arriving in DC around 1:30, I believe, Eastern time at Washington National. And then I'll go to my hotel and be there. And from Sunday through the middle of Wednesday. This coming week. I'm going there primarily to go up there for a Transgender Day of Remembrance activity that the VA is putting on and hosting, the Center for Minority Veterans. And that's going to be taking place Monday, I think, at about 11, I think it is, Eastern time. And I'll be there about an hour early, which is my typical routine. Go early, get things done. Shake hands, say hi, and speak up. That's what I do. Stir the pot a little bit. So anyway, let's jump right into some news. Are you ready? Let's go see what's happening in the news world here. So we'll just jump over and share that screen as soon as this comes up and I get rid of that one. Okay. Just bear with me as I go through all these things. Share the screen and we're going to go to that. All right. So I just pulled this up and here we go. Well, let's go back one. And so, not the time to be playing games. Republican Marine vet says Tuberville has picked too many. I got to read the rest of this. Too many fights. Yeah, I saw that earlier today. It's one day ago. Representative Rich McCormick, Republican from Georgia, a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy. Hey, that sounds familiar. Gave a candid assessment of Tommy Tuberville's, and he's Republican from Alabama, ongoing blockade of senior military confirmations. While speaking to CNN, McCormick said that Tuberville's months-long hold on hundreds of military promotions is too risky for a gambit to take with the world on the brink of war. McCormick cited Hamas's October 7th terrorist attack on Israel, Ukraine's ongoing defense of its borders against Russian incursion, and brewing conflict in Azerbaijan as reasons to quickly fill vacant military leadership positions. Tuberville's been holding it up for too long. I live down here in Alabama, and yeah, I wish I could recall him and just absolutely just have him recalled, send him home, send him packing to Florida, because that's where he actually lives. Mailing address is he has a mailing address in Alabama, I think over near Auburn somewhere, but that's all right. You can have a mailing address over there, but you live over in Florida, so we don't want you. Go down there and run against somebody else if you want to. Okay. Let's see what else is going on in the world of news. Let's drop that one back out and continue with the scroll. That was from Alternet, by the way, that story. Republicans raised concerns about treatment of Mayor Adams by federal investigation. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure what that's all about. I know that Mayor Adams is the mayor of New York City. All right. So Corella Braverman votes to cancel Christmas. What? Okay, whatever. Congressman alleges Bible ban in the U.S. Since 1963, separating fact from perception. What? If it's a congressman who says the Bible's been banned in the U.S. since 1963, you're full of guacamole. All right. Journalist disputes congressman's account of violence at Gaza ceasefire protests. Yeah, I imagine the journalist's opinion would be different. A congressman is looking for something to talk about and put out there in a newsletter. IBM and EU pull ads from Elon Musk's X as concerns about anti-Semitism fuel backlash. There is no place for anti-Semitism or bigotry of any kind. You're entitled to those opinions. The Holocaust deniers and all those people, well, you know something? Not a place for that. Reality and truth and the evidence and all the facts and all the people who went through it, oh, that's just proof. But, no, the Holocaust deniers, you have no place in this conversation at all. So, anyway, I'm glad to see them running. Curious case of the slow-moving U.S. aircraft carrier. That is not an aircraft carrier. That's not an aircraft carrier. Maybe toy planes, paper ones. You fly from the con all the way back to, I don't know, the first hatch. Or down the first ladder. How's that? All right, GOP leader ruthlessly mocked for clown car. Carrie Lake endorsement. Okay, I'm not going in that one either. The unwelcome topic of this year's Thanksgiving table. I'm not going in that one. Transgender athletes in sports. New poll highlights evolving American views. Now, let me see what this actually is. Let's see who did the study. And this is from Career Step Up, the subscriber or follower list of 11,716, and Salman. This person, S. Salman, ends up in a lot of these conversations, by the way. Anything that has to do with anti-trans people or anti-trans views. This person, I don't know if it's a he or she, but this person actually ends up, or them, or whatever, ends up as being one of the authors for this. And no doubt this is going to be not presented in a good light. Okay, Gallup poll conducted 2023 reveals a significant shift in public sentiment regarding trans athlete participation. Here we go. Nearly 70% of Americans now believe that athletes should compete on teams that align with their birth gender. And you know how wrong that really is? What they're really saying is their genetic sex, or basically, no, they're actually saying their anatomical sex that they observed at birth. Well, I'm not going down that road with this. I've said it enough already. Concurrently, okay, all right. Polls shift. Absolutely, the polls will shift because you've had all this hatred and vitriol coming over here from a lot of the people over on the right. The extremists on the right are shoving all of this stuff down people's throats incessantly on a daily basis, really. Day after day after day, you see them going through here and just talking everything they can anti-transgender and anti-LGBT. And if you don't think that is a concerted narrative program and effort, it's taking place nationally, folks. Yeah, it happens exactly where you are, where you live. It's happening to a lot of people I know personally, but it's a national thing. This is a national narrative that has been pushed and pushed and pushed. And the biggest player behind it is the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts. But there's others, ADL, the Alliance Defending Freedom, who else out there? The Family Research Council, FRC, those people, they're all putting everything they can into going after transgender people, when just 20 years ago, the biggest topic that they could think of was, against gay people adopting children. Oh, they've got a thing for all of us over in the LGBT community. I really think that most of them may be gay or lesbian or maybe even trans, but they're just scared to admit it. They don't have the guts to be real, like the rest of us do. Okay. Let's go on over through here. Not a time. Okay. I just saw all we needed to see over there on that page. Back to this one. If you have a comment, you can put it over in the comment section, wherever it might have shown up, from the Facebook page, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all those things. It's all over there. You can go find it. Some of these things don't show up in this little count, the live viewers count, because, I don't know why exactly, but LinkedIn is not one of them, and neither is the website. But anyway, it's out there. You can come in and jump in if you want. I don't mind having people come and talk. But the moment you get disrespectful and the moment you start spouting anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial kind of crap, or using derogatory names to describe people, well, that's a bridge too far for me. I will absolutely pull the plug on your conversation, just so you know. So let me see. Got one person watching. Let me see, where are you from? Twitch. I have the same person every time. Or at least one count, somebody from over on Twitch watching all the time. And I don't know who that is. I don't even know if they can actually directly comment in this blog, but they can say hi. But anyway, more than welcome to come out here and just give us your opinion on all kinds of stuff. Okay, so this week does wrap up, or Sunday does wrap up, the Transgender Week of Awareness. Yeah. So it's Transgender Awareness Week. It went from the 13th through the 19th, then Sunday. But this show, our show right here, we have this little thing that I like to put out, something I created over the past week. And it takes time to do this. I don't know if you're familiar with Adobe After Effects, but that is certainly something that is, I mean, it's a very powerful tool, but also difficult to use. Well, I've had to learn, but you know, at 65, I can still learn just about anything, right? Almost 65. I'll be 65 in about 6 months, less. Yeah, about 6 months. Okay. So we're going to show this one really quickly. This is this week. Here we go. What did you think of that? I like that. And here's the show. All right, welcome back to the show again. Thank you for taking that quick drink with me. Let's go see what's happening over on Twitter. You ready? Go check out Twitter for right now. Da, 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 da. Bum, 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 bum. That's an old post. It keeps going back to that one. Okay. American Principles Project, by the way, I'm following them. See, look, I'm following the American Principles Project on here. We organize families in politics, a project that actually has principles. Tucker Carlson. I don't know who's running it, but if Tucker's running it, you need to help, son. I don't know if he is or not, but he certainly needs help. Let me put the link on here to get in here and watch this. Watch. Let me see if I can get anybody to come over. And let me get the invite link. We'll invite somebody to the stage. Let's see if they'll come. My opinion is they won't come unless they're just off the rockers crazy, because that's the way it is. All right, let me get rid of that. Go back over to here. Am I still sharing the screen? No, let me go back to share the screen. We're going to present this screen now, and we're going to Twitter. Okay, so right now, here's what's showing up on my very first comment, very first thing on Twitter, in the feed on Twitter for my account over here. Okay, the very first one is American Principles Project, which has a thing for transgender people. I mean, they really do. Everything that they say has been about attacking transgender people, just about. I'd say 90% of what I've seen has been transgender attacks, okay? And that's what it is. Trans runner takes first place in California Girls Cross Country Championship. Let me see if I can get them to talk. Come and talk with me. What are you afraid of? Let me post the link in here and let's see if we can get anyone to come and join us. Bum, 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 bum. It's really weird because I keep putting out fillers for people to talk with me and all kinds of stuff like that. And I do it everywhere, all across the country, all kinds of organizations, but no one is taking the bait. I'd really love to interact with some of these people who are so anti-trans. I'd really love to interact with them because, you know, I really do think that I can actually talk with them on a level that they might understand. I hope. I don't know, but it's just crazy because You reach out, you reach even to people over on the left. They'll reach out to other larger organizations or larger groups of people or media sources or YouTube or groups. And I keep reaching out, sending contact information, sharing information with them, but nobody shows up, folks. Nobody shows up. Nobody. Nobody's interested. But Heritage Foundation, though, Kevin Roberts is the president of Heritage Foundation. This person you see on the screen right now, that's Kevin Roberts, president of Heritage Foundation. And Kevin wrote the foreword to Project 2025, and you should read it. If you haven't read that yet, you need to, because this thing is horrifying, folks. They put $22 million into this thing to make it come about. They've been working on it since April of 2022. They started bringing organizations together, like-minded organizations together, convene them all in order to go after the ostensibly what it's about is to take and reduce the size of administrative state. They've always pushed for that since Reagan. They've been pushing that. Well, Heritage has since Reagan, I know for sure. But there was no large organization like Heritage prior to that. So, that's what they're pushing for. That's the big thing they say. But you know how you can tell what they really mean? Is after you make it make it through that first paragraph with all the platitudes and things that they put out there about reducing the size of the administrative state or the executive branch is what they mean, the federal government. Just as soon as they get that out of the way in the first paragraph, in the second one, they talk about how badly they want to get rid of transgender people. And that's on page 1. Bottom of page 4 in Project 2025. Bottom of page 4, top of page 5. These are the numbered pages. They've got some Roman numeral identified pages in there too. But if you go to the numbered page, 4 and 5 at the bottom and the top of 5, you'll see what they really want to do again. I mean, they tell you flat out all the way through there. They tell you that they want to delete, their words, not mine, delete things like, I don't know, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender everything, word gender by itself, bodily autonomy, reproductive health, abortion. And then they put a comma at the end of all that, and they go, and any other thing that offends the First Amendment rights of Americans. Now, I take a really big offense to that because, I'm an American. Don't I have any kind of First Amendment rights? Or are you just wanting to get rid of what you perceive as one form of oppression and trade it for your oppression? That's basically what they're trying to do. Now, don't get me wrong. This kind of crap happens on the left and the right. They all go do these kind of things. But Heritage has put money and a massive amount of organization and thought into a plan to take over the whole of the executive branch of the U.S. government if a conservative wins in November of 2024. And just as soon as that person, if they win, stands up there and says, "So help me God," on January the 20th at noon Eastern, then Heritage is already trained and vetted and made sure everybody can pass all the security clearance requirements and all that kind of stuff. They're going to roll them right out. They're looking to have, one number said 2,000 or so, but I think others are saying 40 or 50,000 or so. But they're trying to go in and just take over the whole of the administrative state. And now look, they're not going to shut it down. They're not going to close down those things right away. No, they've got one big goal to do initially. It's contained in the second paragraph and the rest of that introduction that was written by Kevin Roberts, Dr. Kevin Roberts, early American historian. Okay, so that's the Dr. Roberts that's on your screen right now that you're looking at. That's the person who wrote that forward. I follow these people. I've even invited them to come and talk with us. But guess what? Nobody wants to take me up on that because, they don't want to really feed into the narrative that, you've got this veteran who's a Marine veteran and a Navy veteran and a Naval Academy grad and all that, and a parent with 4 children and 8 grandchildren, and I don't fit their narrative. They know they can't beat me, but they also will not take me up on the challenge because they want somebody easier to confront. I mean, if I go up on stage with any of them or anything like that, guess what will immediately happen? Everybody in that audience is going to see somebody who is a veteran, 2 branches of service, a Naval Academy grad, and when I start telling them about my children and my children's spouses and friends, connections, you'll see that this entire household, and my immediate household, you're going to find out that every branch of service has been covered except for Coast Guard and Space Force. My immediate house. We serve this country, and we have for generations. My very first ancestor here in this country, not very first that I know of anyway, a man by the name of Alden Williamson on my dad's side. Well, he was in the first battle of the Revolutionary War, Battle of Point Pleasant. It was right before the war started, actually, between 1776 and I think it was about 1777 or something like that. Anyway, he was in that. Now, we've been in this country doing a lot. On my mom's side, her paternal side of the family, and I don't know all the details about the other sides, but I know I'm going down through her paternal side of the family. I had a relative, great-grandparent, great-great-great-great-grandparent, who was at Valley Forge with Washington. We've served in every major war since this country was fighting for its right to exist. Okay? And so those are the reasons why these people aren't going to want me to come in there with them, because I don't fit the narrative that they want to project. They don't think that the people who are transgender are smart or educated or trained or professionals or anything like that. I mean, the person who is running Sparta, the active duty military side, friend of mine, met down in Fort Lauderdale just back in October, Commander Emily Schilling. Commander Schilling is an F-18 pilot. The former president of Sparta is active duty Space Force now and was just promoted to colonel in the Air Force or Space Force. I just had another friend reach out to me not too long ago who was in the Coast Guard, a captain. She's retiring, looking for a little bit of guidance in the state of Washington. We've got friends who are flying you around this country in these commercial planes, these large commercial planes. We got people flying for UPS and got FedEx and all these people flying who are doing professional jobs out here. But no, you're not going to see them being brought up here on the stage to have these conversations because, just our very presence would be a threat to them. It goes counter to everything they want to show. So until they start inviting all of us, and let me tell you, I've got good friends who are welders or mechanics or machinists. And these people are highly skilled and trained professionals in their field and very successful who are transgender as well. So I went over into I chased a squirrel and ended up right there. But anyways, Kevin Roberts is the president of that bunch. And they're going after us and they want us gone. Simple as that. You ought to read that Project 2025. I'll show you here in a second a little bit about it before I get too far into this. Let me see. DC's business as usual approach is failing America. Mike Lee, Tuberville's fight against executive order is righteous. No, it's not. It's just full of crap. Let me see. No, it's not. It's not. It's delusional. Tuberville is, someone just put it, Senator Tuberville, to be respectful, okay, even though, I have a strong opinion about it. Senator Tuberville has no clue about national security. SECURITY. And apparently neither do you. Apparently, neither do. There's no G in it either. Neither do you. Let's talk about it. Let me post the link in here. Let's see if anybody's willing to jump in. Bum, 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 bum. And let me see. We in Alabama I got to put it in there. We in Alabama would love to recall him. Recall the senator. and send him back home to Florida. Send him back home to Florida. Florida. Okay, yeah, I talk to myself a lot. I hope you don't mind. I talk to myself all the time on this thing. Let's talk. Okay, there we go. Let's send it. Let's see what else is going on. Look, this, I mentioned this a minute ago. They're up here at the top. Right. Well, they were right there, that one. Then the next one down after all of that, you got another one down here, American Principles Project. Sex changes are not health care. How do you know? Have you tried one? Have you tried one? Tried to do that? Oh my God. Anyway. Red shockwave. Last night, a chaotic scene broke out in Dublin, Ireland at the university. Okay, debate on the ongoing conflict in Palestine. I'm not going to go down that one. Sebastian Gorka. Oh, Sebastian Gorka. Whoever is controlling Biden, Joe Biden is the worst president in U.S. history. Seb, stop. You're making a fool of yourself. And I can use that name with them because I actually have interacted with them virtually, not in a meeting that I'd called a long time ago, almost 10 years ago, I guess, when he gave a presentation with my organization that I had at that time about strategic thinking. And it was appalling. Let's put it bluntly. Okay, stop. You're making a fool of yourself. And I don't mind attacking these because, so far nobody's responded anyway, but I don't know if Zeb will either because, he knows who I am. Oh my God, let's go on down. Matt Walsh, White House releasing statements condemning private citizens for tweets. Absolutely insanity. The White House releases statements, said anti-Semitism. Well, look, now they can say what they want to say, but you also have a right to tell them if they're stupid or not. Okay. House just killed school choice. Okay. Indefensible. I am not loyal to Republican Party, Democratic Party. I want them both to fail. Laura Loomer. Okay. I care about restoring America, and the only person who's going to do that is Donald Trump. What? Are you off your rockers? I'm going to put, are you off your meds? Libs of TikTok. Here we go. Gender is all around us. It's also present. It's always present. It's even in the room with us right now. Yeah, gender is. Oh, you are so right. Gender is so much in the room with you. Yes. Oh, yes, you're right. Absolutely. Yes, you are correct. You have a gender. You have, put a period. You have a genetic sex. And you have an anatomical sex. Anatomical sex. They don't have to match. They do not always align with each other. Let me put this link right down here. Let's see if anybody shows up. This will be the last time I do it, but I'm going to go right there. Do that one. We'll get out of here and go over to StreamYard. So far, there's 2 people watching, nobody commenting. I don't know where everyone is at. So we have somebody from Facebook and somebody from Twitch. And also, as I said before, I don't know if anyone is actually watching from over on LinkedIn or from the website because those 2 don't track in the live viewers count over here. But, comments are free. You can send them all you want. But if you get out of control there, you start posting anti-Semitic crap or derogatory language towards somebody, I will cut you off. Period. So anyway, that's what we have going on at this point. Let me go take a look at Project 2025 because I do want to show you what this thing is actually about. If you haven't seen it before, you need to see this thing because it is terrifying, folks. If you haven't seen it, it's terrifying. It's still terrifying. Somebody pointed it out to me a couple of months ago. I'm going to tell you that is the craziest stuff, but I'm going to tell you it's very well organized. the strategic plan that they've got laid out there and the narrative that they've got, that they're presenting and all this kind of stuff, it's taking place all across this country the way they want it to, because they put $22 million in this darn thing, and that's probably just the beginning at this point, because, that was originally, I think there were like 45 organizations at first, but right now, or at least a couple of weeks ago, it was 75 organizations and 400 people have contributed to this thing. It's very well thought out. The structure that's there is worth a lot. Just even from our side, we ought to have a structure that's a lot like that. We don't. We can barely get along with each other because we're so much into allowing people to actually say and believe what they want to without having to, put them all over there in that silo, echo chamber. All right, so what you're looking at, when I pull up this and share it with you, let me go over and take a look. Let's go share screen and Project 2025. There we go. All right, so right now you're looking at the website that's called project2025.org. This is a project that's called Project 2025 Presidential Transition Project. They have a policy, personnel training playbook, and about and all this kind of thing. This is built by a convening of a bunch of organizations that are far right extreme people, organizations that do not want, they actually believe this, that this should be a Christian nationalist state, authoritarian, theocratic Christian nationalist state. That's what they believe. They don't believe in separation of church and state. You can read through this stuff and I'll show you, but you can read through it. I mean, the policies right here, this is really just small, like what they got on the website. You need to read the darn policy itself, the book. They're going to start a training program, a database. They're going to call it, I think they call it the LinkedIn of conservatives, the conservative LinkedIn. Massive coalition of conservative organizations. Yeah, that's right. It's a Heritage Foundation, all organized by the Heritage Foundation. Learn more about positions in the executive branch. Please refer to the 2020 Plum Book or submit your application now. You can go on there. If all of the, I'm not going to tell anyone to do this, but I mean, I can really see this happening actually. A bunch of people over on the left side or whomever just thinks this is a bunch of garbage. Well, just suddenly just went in and applied in mass to their application, filled it out honestly. I did. And they said, we'll get back with you. But after they saw everything, I haven't heard a word back from them. No, not at all. No, they're not likely to respond to me. But they will vet you just to get in and be vetted, to be vetted. They want to make sure you've got some good, strong, conservative street cred. Okay. And they're going to create this database. They'll create it, set it up, train people. Here we go. Training. Here's the training part of it. Presidential Administration Academy. See, when I have an academy, what you'll learn, you can apply to enroll in that now. It's the same application, I believe, just for signing up for all this. What you will learn, who should attend, program format. I mean, they have put some time and serious effort and serious money behind it. They're serious. If you don't believe it, well, every presidential candidate out there on the conservative side right now knows about this. All the talking points being used across the whole country come right straight out of this. Everywhere I look around the country, you can see that they are following the narrative that Dr. Roberts put in the forward to this thing. They got the playbook. They're still working out the playbook details, but there's a lot. It's a 180-day playbook. And to give you an idea how serious they are about that, when Reagan became president, the Heritage Foundation handed a mandate for leadership then for the president to, they just handed this book to them or this document to him and said, here, take this. We'd like for you to look at it if you get the time to do so. Well, within 180 days, they got 60% of their goals accomplished. But that's a failure in their eyes. They wanted the whole thing accomplished. Project 2025 puts what they gave to Reagan to shame. This Project 2025 took that and put it on steroids and then multiplied that by 10. It's serious, folks. Money, money, money. Deep, dark money is feeding this thing. It's coming from a lot of really powerful organizations with a lot of money just to throw around out there because they want to protect their money. That's primarily what it's all about. But except that Project 2025 is a Christian theocratic thing, authoritarian, Christian nationalist. That's what this is. I can show you in just a second. So let's go take a look at the policy, because that's where you find out what it's really all about. We're going to look at the forward. And rather than sharing it from here, I've got it pulled up on another screen. I did have. Let me put in, oh, wait, I need to just pull it up back here. 1 minute. We'll go do this. You can see it right there, policy agenda. Don't buy it over here. You can buy it for $35. You can buy the book right there for $35, but they don't need your $35. If you're going to send $35 to anyone, go ahead and send it to us at tdva-ag.com. We can actually use that and try to move the middle of the country more closely toward us. They need to see people like us out and about, because right now, as that Gallup poll thing we looked at earlier, the narrative is shifting because they have been talking about this for months, years now. They've been building it and building it and building it and building it. This whole thing has been strategized and thought out. It is evil incarnate, to put it bluntly. But you can go right back one page. Hold on a minute. Back to here and just read the mandate. This document where it says read the mandate, that's a PDF document. 920 pages long. It's the same as this, but this PDF thing is free. Go for that. Go for that. Now, let me pull it up on the back here so that you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go, oh, no, downloads. I need to go right there. And where'd Project 2020? I wasn't downloads. It was a desktop. Okay. Here. Okay. Ordinarily, I have it up, but I got back home about 15 minutes till the time the show starts. All right. So here's the project for Project 2025, this mandate for leadership, conservative promise. I'm going to skip right on down. I want to just show you this. You can see who it's written by. The forward by Kevin Roberts, who's the president of Heritage. Paul Dans is the executive director for Project 2025, along with Stephen Groves. I think he's part of this as well. And they give you the list of all the organizations who have contributed up to this point. And right here this is a note on Project 2025. This isn't even the forward. This is the note. And so you're in this first note right here. History teaches that president's power to implement an agenda is at its apex during the administration's opening days. We know that. To execute requires a well-conceived, coordinated, and unified plan and a trained and committed cadre of personnel to implement it. That's what they've done here, folks. They've got 4 pillars. This one talks about the reining in the administrative state. Pillar 2 is a personnel database. This first one up here, Pillar 1 is the policy, the whole policy document. Pillar 2 is the database. Pillar 3 is administrative academy, the training academies. Pillar 4 is the playbook. That was written by Paul Dans. You can go check it out. Authors, well, there were people from 70 to 75 organizations all contributed to this thing. And you can see on here where some of them are from, like American Main Street Initiative, Hillsdale College, Heritage Foundation, Center for Immigration Studies. It goes right on down the line, folks. Every organization out there that has made any kind of statement that's anti-trans or anti-LGBT or anti-minority, really, anti-minority too, you'll find them on this, like this Ethics and Public Policy Center. Ryan Anderson was associated with that. I'm not sure. I think he's a senior person over there now. Was president at one time, but I think he was working for Heritage as well. There's all these organizations have cross connections, massively intertwined. Okay. And there's James Carafano. Oh yeah, James Carafano, Heritage Foundation. Oh, let me see. Just a whole bunch of people, lots, 400 at least. Let's go on down. Here's the forward by Dr. Roberts. Remember I said in the second paragraph, look, this first one right here, let me make sure this first, acute vulnerability. We're still, okay, I'll read the first paragraph to you, then jump down to the second one. 44 years ago, the United States and the conservative movement were in dire straits. Both had been betrayed by the Washington establishment, and were uncertain whom to trust. Both were internally splintered and strategically adrift. Were still at that moment of acute vulnerability and division. We found ourselves besieged by existential adversaries, foreign and domestic. The late 1970s were, by any measure, a historic low point for America and the political coalition dedicated to preserving our unique legacy of human flourishing and freedom. I remember the 70s. I lived through the 70s, and yeah, I don't recall it being like that. Anyway, second paragraph to go on down through here. The inflation is ravaging. I'm going to just highlight this little section right here, the whole thing. See if I can highlight the whole thing. It's all yellow. Okay. There's part of this is true, but the reason they throw a couple of true things in their sentences and then one thing that's absolutely blatantly false is because if you can get to the first two, it makes it easier to sell you on the third. It's psychology 101. Psyops. Okay. Inflation is ravaging the family budget. True. Drug overdose deaths continue to escalate. True. And children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism with drag queens and pornography invading our school libraries. You could stop right there and write a whole book on just what they just said from those three things. It's true, inflation is pretty darn crazy right now. I mean, paying $16 for McDonald's Big Mac meal? Right? Yeah, right. Drug overdoses are continue to escalate. Yeah, and it is cross-cultural. It is cross everything. It's every culture or every socioeconomic status or indicator in the country. Everyone is experiencing this escalation in drug use. It's not just any one particular group of people. So then they say toxic normalization, transgenderism. First thing is, I don't know about you, but if you're transgender, you aren't an ideology, and neither am I. It's really offensive to be called an ideology. That's as if I can make a decision to be this. No, you can't. You can make a decision to be a conservative. You can decide to be a conservative. You can decide to be a liberal. You can make those decisions. Those are decisions you get to make. Those are ideologies. But being transgender is not, just as being white is not an ideology, just as being black is not an ideology, just as being a Pacific Islander is not an ideology, being gay is not an ideology, being trans is not an ideology. And they always conflate these things together. They always put the thing that they don't like in there with children. And you'll see this every time. You'll see this every time they do it. You'll see a statement about transgender people, and then they'll throw in attacks on children and sometimes women, but mostly they do the children because, that's everybody loves their children, wants to protect them, right? That's, of course we do. All of us do. So, but then they'll throw children in there and pornography in there and the schools and the kids, stuff like that. And this has been going on for 50, 70 years, probably about 70 years that I'm aware of. Started in probably the late 40s, whenever they started integrating in African Americans into the military. And how many times, if you can remember back there, if you've read anything from back those days, do you know that they did the same thing then? They said, we don't want our women and children to be around all of those black people because you never know how violent they can be and how much over-sexualized those men are. We don't want that. They did that again in the 50s with the Lavender Scare, when they got 20,000 Americans fired from the federal government because we didn't want those gay people around all those women and children, and and pornography is associated with that, right? That's what they said. And they did it again with the blacks, the Americans, African Americans. They did it again there. Every group they don't like, they find a way to dehumanize them. And that's exactly what's been going on, folks. Going on through time. Like, if you don't like a group, dehumanize them. You think anti-Semitism is a recent thing? That it's only Hamas that hates the terrorist group Hamas? You think that they're the only ones that actually hate Jewish people? No. You can look in every culture that since Jewish people have been spread around the world, you can see it in every place. Russia's got bad cases of it, anti-Semitism. United States does, Europe does, obviously, with Hitler. But it didn't start right there, though. If you go all the way back to, I think it's 1030 BC, whenever the United Israel, I think it was nation, was created, all the way back to there were people out there who hated Jewish people. And then in 586 BC, whenever the Babylonians put them all into captivity, enslaved them and all of that. I mean, the anti-Semitism kept rising and rising and rising. The Romans did it, then the Jewish people got control of their land again and built the temple, tore it down. Romans tore the thing down. Everybody took it. I mean, it's just, this anti-Semitism thing is going on for a long time. But it's not really just about that, though. See, it's about having one group you can focus all of your hatred toward because you think they have a certain advantage that you don't, simply because, or they may be the ones that you believe are causing all of your problems. Like, I don't know, hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff like that. People saying it's all because of the gays in the country or the transgender people. That's why we have tornadoes and hurricanes. And I go, no, it's not. Y'all are just silly, stupid and silly. Anyway, phew. All right. So we'll have to get that in a little bit. Okay. So this is the first one. We'll go down to page 4, bottom of page 4. This is what I was talking about a minute ago. The next conservative president. Remember when I said this? The next conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for woke culture warriors. This starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation, gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitivity, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. That's militants right there, folks. They're telling you how badly they want all of those people to go away. They're telling you how badly they want to not just shove you back into the closet, destroy your marriages and marriage equality. They're telling you that they want to shove you under the floorboards in that closet. And then they do it again down here, which is what I was talking about a minute ago, conflating pornography with the thing that they don't want. So if they can get people to believe, and they do, because this obviously works for some people, they said pornography in the next paragraph. And I don't know if you're seeing this or not. I don't see where it's shared at. But anyway, it says pornography manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexual relations of children, for instance. And then they go right in the next sentence and say it has no protections, has no claim to First Amendment protections. People who produce it should be in prison. That's what it says right there. And the organizations, businesses that facilitate its spread should be shuttered. That's in the last sentence in that paragraph. If that doesn't piss you off, make you angry and terrified that they're going to be able to pull this crap off, well, I don't know what will, because, that's exactly what they're wanting to do. You don't believe it? Well, it's there. Stop sharing. All right. We're going to stop sharing on that screen. With that, I'm going to call it a day. We'll tell you this, that I'm getting ready to, Sunday morning, as I said, I'll be flying out to D.C. to participate in the Transgender Day of Remembrance event at the Center for Minority Veterans at the VA main office in D.C. That event is tomorrow, or Monday the 20th, November the 20th. I think it's at 11 Eastern time. The person who is going to be speaking at that point in time will be the Honorable Sean Skelly, who is the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. And Sean is one of those people that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert go after every chance they can in every piece of legislation that they write. They try to drive Sean's pay down to $1. They can't eliminate it, but they can drive it down to $1. They went after Sean's pay. Obviously, they went after Admiral Rachel Levine's pay, drive it down to $1. They went after, there's a whole bunch of people that they just, I guess it makes them feel queasy around these people or something. Anyway, so for this week, this is Transgender Awareness Week. And with that, I'll close with this remark. And let me play this little thing for you. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Stay warm if you're in a cold place. Stay cool if you're in a hot place. Wherever you might be, have a good time, enjoy life as much as you can, but get out and fight, because we need people fighting right now, the good fight, so that all Americans can have the rights that our Constitution says, and Constitution and the Declaration of Independence says, that we're all benefactors of the benefits and the blessings of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. If you don't get those things, then let's do something about it. Bye.